Welcome to the Mike on Much podcast. I am your host, Mike Veerman, and I am here with my friend and trusted producer, Max Kerman. Max, what's up?
Hey, people.
And we're also here with our pop culture aficionado, Shane Cunningham, back from his vacation on a boat in the Caribbean. Shane, what's going on?
Nothing much.
It's good to have you back.
We missed you, buddy.
Yeah, I thought
was just
maybe I'd be
joshing
back last week, but yeah.
The nut filled in admirably. I thought he did a wonderful job. So today on the show, for our trusty listeners, we have Charlotte Cardin.
We played with her once.
Did you?
University of Ottawa, Frosh Week last year.
Oh, sweet.
And I never heard of her, and I was like, damn, she's great. So
Yeah.
What is she? Singer? Rapper?
Singer-songwriter, pianist.
Model, right.
Yeah, model. She's opening for Borns. And Borns
that's cool.
is very cool. And Borns is a very modelly kind of guy. This is like the best looking tour of 2018 by far.
Fellas, what's been going on? I feel like the three of us haven't been
I
in
know,
a room
this
together
is great.
doing a pod in a while.
I really missed you guys.
Aw.
Well, I've seen you, but I missed you, Shane.
Yeah, well, I missed you too, you know. In fact, I was right around the corner when you were recording with Nut that one day, but we'll talk about that later.
Hold on, you were home?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's called communication, Max, but I was literally 2 minutes away.
Come on, really?
I swear. But we'll talk about that later.
In the dessert, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. I had no idea.
I know.
Okay.
Communication, Max.
Well, actually, that night, I went to the Killers concert,
Oh, yeah.
which was great.
I went to that as well.
Yeah.
You guys went separately?
Well, it was kind of two different groups. We ended up all hanging out at the end of the night. But
The nut hooked us all up with tickets.
the nut
basically.
figured it out for us. So shout out to the nut. But I went because our manager, Ash, it was her birthday. And Ashley and I spend a lot of time talking about Brandon Flowers of the Killers. And she just always sends me pictures of how skinny he is. And just as a sort of a subtle, not so subtle reminder to stop eating kind of thing.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, Ash is sort of like the Max Whisperer. Her and Lauren really do a number on me. It's for the better, though.
Did you gain weight over the holidays?
I don't know. I didn't even weigh myself, but probably. But I'm on a good run right now, good diet. But anyway, so we were really excited for this concert because the Killers are also one of our favorite bands. We love Brandon Flowers. And it was especially exciting because Rob Loud, who is an amazing photographer who's done some great shots for the Arkells, is the Killers tour photographer. We've all hung out with him because he was the top man Mike on Much photographer.
Probably one of the most embarrassing photos of me I've ever...
Why?
I look like Kevin Smith. I'm wearing like jorts and like an oversized shirt button up with reflective sunglasses.
You don't look like Kevin Smith. You look great.
Oh my God.
I thought we all looked pretty cool. Given that none of us really worked out for that photo shoot at all.
Sure didn't.
Yeah, we kind of seemed
It's
to
a
pull it
hilarious
off.
photo.
If you kind of like squint at the photo and you could be like, oh, those are three models. But if
Yeah.
you look at it closely, like, wait a second.
Yeah. Who are those two guys hanging out with Kevin Smith?
I've got to show you this photo. Continue talking.
So anyway, and we knew we had a chance of meeting Brandon Flowers in the band after the show because, you know, it was Ashley's birthday. We'd pull the birthday card on our friend Rob, say, please take us back and let us meet Brandon Flowers. And that's kind of exactly what happened.
Weren't you even trying to get him on the podcast, Max?
Yeah, so I was really trying to get on the podcast. That didn't work out.
Did our friend Rob Loud ask?
He did. He did his best. But we're lower on the totem pole than, you know, Indie 88 and CBCQ at
I
the
saw
moment.
he went on cue.
I know.
I know.
We don't have the pull yet.
We know where we're at, but that's okay because we're fighting to get up there and get those interviews.
So a couple noteworthy things. One, during the show, and we were like on cloud nine during the show because they're playing all of our favorite songs and the production and everything was incredible. If you have a chance to see the Killers on this run, go do it. There's this moment where Brandon Flowers sees a guy holding a sign saying, let me play drums with you. And he says, okay. Brings up the guy.
Was that a plant though?
Well, here's the thing. He comes up on stage, counts the band in, and is incredible. Now, I was like up close for this, and I was like a little drunk, and I was like buying every second of it. I was so happy. I was like, this guy's doing it. It's crazy. And like he was nailing all these like fills that he'd only know if he watched like a lot of like live Killers on YouTube or has been to like every show on the tour. But I still was like, I believe in the magic, which says a lot about me because I'm in a band and we pull off like quote unquote tricks that we do every night on tour.
You know how the circus works, Max, and you fell for it.
And I totally fell for it, right? So, but anyways, I go back and I'm hanging out with Tony and Mike from the band. I'm like, did you see that? That was amazing. The drummer just pulled it off. And then Tony and Mike are like, no, you idiot. He's a plant. There's no possible way that this guy was that good. So anyway, after the show, we go backstage and I meet the guitarist. I'm like, was that guy a plant? He said, no. And then I meet like the bassist. Hey, was that guy a plant? And they're all like, no. I was like, this is crazy. And I asked their manager, their tour manager. The guy says he's not a plant, just a random dude. I asked Rob Loud. Everybody is like, this guy is just a random dude in Toronto. So then finally, the moment comes where we meet Brandon Flowers. Because Rob says, okay, we can meet him. So we go back there. Very exciting. I've actually met him once before, but it was like kind of more exciting now this time because I was drunk and with Ashley, who was very excited to meet him. I say to him, I was like, hey, that the moment with the drummer, that was amazing. Was it a plant? And he says, no. And I was like, okay, hold on a second. What would happen if he was terrible? Like, because it's one thing, because we do a bit where we bring up a guitarist on the stage who plays my guitar for like the final chorus of one song, which is pretty low stakes. Because if the guy's terrible, I just cut
his guitar. Yeah,
I just cut his guitar. But if the drummer is terrible, you just have to stop the song, and that's sort of an embarrassing thing to happen in front of 18,000 people.
Yeah. And
so I asked him, like, what happens if it went off the tracks? And then Brandon Flowers just goes, never thought about that. Which is crazy to me. Because I'm always thinking like worst case scenario all the time. I'm always thinking like when inevitably the power cuts out at the show, okay, there's an acoustic guitar backstage. I'll whip that out and keep entertaining. But Brandon Flowers seemed to have no care in the world. But anyway, as I'm asked, so I tell Brandon Flowers, I'm like, because we do this bit where we call somebody up on stage and I'm always looking at them in the eye. I'm like, do you know the chords D, G, and E minor? And they put up their hands and then I really look at them. I'm telling Brandon Flowers this, and he just goes, oh, kind of like Larry David, right? And the fact that Brandon Flowers made a Larry David reference, my two worlds coming together, made me so happy.
Man,
that's awesome. That was my my Brandon Flowers encounter, and Ash's birthday was one for the books.
Did you not read about that drummer?
No.
He's Brandon Flowers' brother-in-law. They were all lying to you.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's clearly a confidentiality joke thing going on.
Are you kidding?
I think now Mike's fucking with you though too, but I don't know. But I clearly still think it's a plant whether Mike's fucking with you or not.
Okay, what is the story here?
I was just kidding. I thought Shane was jumping on the bit with me.
No. Here's the thing. I was like, now I'm an idiot because now I'm getting tricked by Mike. But I know
I was joking.
But I know Mike does that trick. But I was still thinking, I know it's like it has to still be
Hold
a
on.
thing.
Okay, Max felt the famous cactus story.
Yeah.
The Cactus Festival TV. Max has historically sort of fallen for little gags like that. I thought you were jumping in with me and we were going to let him go and then we were going to pull the rug.
I got tricked for a moment, instantly regretted it, didn't know whether to own it. And yeah, I'm an idiot.
So you think that they're lying though?
I do.
I don't, because I actually did see that guy's Instagram and he's some guy from Ontario. He posted it like everywhere that he went up on drums with the Killers.
So everything I've said has been wrong tonight.
So far.
Is the nut still available? That's amazing though. So you get to meet Brandon Flowers.
Get to meet Brandon Flowers.
Ash must have had a wonderful...
She takes a picture with Brandon Flowers. Rob Loud gives Brandon his like red checkered plaid jacket. And they're matching, Ashley and Brandon. And the picture goes viral on Killers fan sites. So it was awesome.
Like define viral.
I mean, just there's like Killers fans Instagram accounts. They were all reposting that picture.
Wow.
That was cool.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Otherwise, actually, I went to LA with my dad.
You're a man of vacations.
Yeah, just like you.
No.
One thing I noticed, I observed, it was really nice spending time with my dad. We had a great time. Went to a Clippers game.
Yeah.
We went to a UCLA basketball game. Went to the Comedy Store. Saw Russell Peters, Joe Rogan, Tiffany Haddish. It was a great lineup.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it was wicked.
Good night.
But one thing, I realized that I'm pretty similar to my dad in a lot of ways. And I have a reputation amongst my friends for taking phone calls like when I'm in a group. Like if I'm in a car with like 4 friends, I'll be like, sorry guys, I have a conference call, and just like talk on the phone to make everybody shut up for like, 15 minutes.
The Nut is famous for that too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And another thing I do, I'm sort of very presumptuous if I'm out in public and I don't think I'm like ever kind of bothering anybody. And my dad is similar. My dad, he loves his iPhone, but he doesn't text. He only dictates.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know that.
So you'll be out with him like in a coffee shop and he's like, love you, honey. And or be like, all right, a note to Angela, reschedule the meeting at 3:40. And he'll just like doesn't give a shit. And like we're on the plane and he's doing it. And it's like, Dad, you got to stop it. So now I know what it's like to be in the shoes of my friends who have to put up with a guy who doesn't know his boundaries.
Are you ever embarrassed when it just looks like this grown man saying, I love you, honey? Like,
nah, it's cute.
Right.
It's sweet.
Yeah.
Well, another thing happening, fellas, is we have a sold out show at the Rivoli.
Shit, we should have opened with that.
Hey, That's all right.
As you're starting the open, I was like, all right, we're gonna talk about this Rivley thing. And then I started talking about myself and I forgot.
Hey man, it's exciting times though. I don't know when this pod will be out. We're recording this on a Monday. Hopefully it'll be out on a Wednesday, which will leave us a couple days till the show. Not that you can get tickets if you don't have tickets already.
Sold out, man.
We're on a publicity tour though.
That is true. Shane and I were on Chum FM this morning with Marilyn Dennis and Roger.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm not on any of these emails because I said I couldn't be there. You guys just cutting me out.
Well, we thought that you're busy.
Yeah.
We're going to be on the social.
See, the social's a hard get.
Yeah.
Because I know for the band, once I asked, I was like, hey, can the band do the social? Just was curious. And they're like, I don't know, man. So the fact we got it is awesome.
Yeah. Adam, the publicist here, is making things happen for us.
So you guys going to take it seriously or just going to make jokes? What's the move?
Well, I'm bringing the do-rag out again, the purple do-rag.
Okay.
And we're going to make all the ladies sing for the challenge.
Ah, good idea.
Because, the challenge kind of went a little cold over the holidays, as I predicted. But now we're going to defrost it and have it come back because I also have been talking to the CEO of Lupus Foundation of America.
Of America?
Yes. So they actually have like 30 chapters or something like that. And they're going to take it over, the I Sang for Lupus Challenge.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
it's spreading, baby.
It's spreading. Hey, and by the way, I've always liked DeMar DeRozan, and I bring this up because he's connected with lupus. His mom has lupus.
That's right.
I just heard him on the Woj podcast.
It was a great
And
listen.
it was an amazing interview. And now I respect DeMar DeRozan literally 15 times the amount that I did before.
Yeah, I heard that also.
And anyway, now we really got to get him on the pod.
Oh my God, I would love to. But
I
I
got to
mean,
get them to do the fucking challenge.
Yeah, that too.
That's true. But yeah, so again, we said this last week, we'll say it again this week. Thank you to everybody who bought tickets and who supports the pod and who donates and who donated to Lupus.
Over $5,000 raised so far.
That's amazing.
It's crazy.
Great.
So yeah, we're grateful, man. It's
Are
pretty cool
there
stuff.
going to be pod fans, like a lot of pod fans, or is it some like friends and family?
I mean, I was actually thinking about that today. There's got to be pod fans. I don't think we have that many friends.
Yeah,
and
but
family.
people on Twitter are saying they're coming and stuff.
like
that
when
are
we
fans.
talk, are they going to listen to us, or is it going to be one of those things where they're just chattering the whole time?
No, they better shut the up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, gonna be good.
Yeah.
You're not worried about it.
I'm not worried about it at all. I've actually been smiling about it during the day.
You're like
just
Brandon
thinking about
Flowers on stage looking at a young drummer in the crowd.
it. Hey, that's right.
I'm like Max on stage, worried that everything's going to go wrong.
Oh, it's good. How could it go wrong? It'll be fine. It'll be great.
Shane
also-
has anxiety naturally.
Well, I think of all the tech, like you were just saying, when you look out in the crowd and you see
we'll get that shit sorted out.
All right.
And also, the guy running at Surge, he knows what he's doing. Also, I've been binging on Working Moms because our featured guest, Catherine Reitman, is the director and star of that show. And I recommend everybody to watch the first season because it's really fun. It takes place in Toronto, so you'll recognize a lot of the places. And she comes from a comedy background too, so I think she's going to be like a really fun, great interview.
Yeah, get to know our future guest, Catherine Reitman. It's going to be
Ivan
a really
Reitman's daughter.
That's right.
Yeah.
Jason Reitman's sister.
Speaking of that, I was in downtown LA and I saw this guy at breakfast who I thought was Jason Reitman, and he looked just like him. And I was like, I'm gonna go say hi to him because we're interviewing his sister on the show. I thought that'd be, and he's been on the show even though it was a phoner. And so I go up to this guy. I'm like, hey, Jason, right? The guy goes, no.
Imagine if it was though.
That would be cool. And then when I got
and he just didn't want to admit that it was him.
yeah, I mean, I can also see that because I was looking a little fanboyish, and that's when you say, no, it's not me. And also, I was another upcoming guest, Lena Waithe.
Yeah.
Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Who's the star of, or the creator of The Shy? Am I
Yeah.
saying it?
Shy.
I said it wrong in the interview.
Oh, you did?
I did. We'll talk about this when we have her on the show and we set it up. But I said the chai.
The Shy. That's
Yeah.
funny. Anyway, I was going
Smooth move, Mikey.
Yeah, that's when you got to do the YouTube search to see how people say it. That happens
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah.
But when I was getting off the plane from LA, she was waiting in the airport. What? But we were on the other side of the glass, so I like knocked on the glass. She like looked up, and I was like, "Hi."
Did you really knock on the glass?
Oh yeah. And she,
That's weird.
That's so funny.
But it was because I was coming through the American side. Like it's not like the intermingling.
Yeah, of
thing,
course.
you know?
Yeah.
So there's no like, hey, you just did the podcast I'm a part of.
Anything else on the docket, fellas?
I really hijacked that open.
It's okay.
You look kind of tired today.
It's
You okay?
a long day. Yeah. Well, we were here.
I was up at 6.
Yeah, we were here at like up early for the Chum FM, And then I've literally been
He's
editing,
been editing
since
So you got that editing fried brain thing.
from 9 a.m. until literally I sat down. I've been editing.
Oh my
this thing.
God. I don't know how you
I actually
guys-
got up at 4:50 a.m. today to get to work. And got here at 6:20.
Oh, that's brutal. Sorry, guys. That's
No,
like-
I apologize to our listeners. I wish we brought more thunder, more
No.
steam. We guarantee you Friday will be much better than this. We're
No.
saving it all for the big live show.
I think it's been pretty good so far, guys. Don't be so
think-
hard on yourself.
You're such a positive
Yeah,
guy,
yeah.
Maxie. Okay, well, let's get to Charlotte Cardin then. We talked about a lot of stuff. I was actually really impressed with her because when I was doing the research before I talked to her, I was watching her music videos and whatnot. And in her video for Main Girl, she does like a lot of acting. Like she's like sort of driving the car and she's like bawling her eye. It's. I was really impressed with her ability and level of acting because usually in music videos, like, have you ever thought about acting in one of your music videos, Max?
No, it's always terrible. I mean, there's a few times where I've had to do some stuff, and I'm always very bad at it. So, I mean, I did a little acting in the first Shane directed video, and I was pretty bad, right?
No, you were good. Cameron Crowe retweeted it.
That's true.
He complimented your acting ability.
That's true. I'll think about that.
Well, I've seen both, and Charlotte, I will say, is very good in that video. Anyway, so we talk about that and sort of her comfort level in videos and sort of, making a living at music and how she got to the point that she got to. The normal stuff we talk about.
Let's get to it.
Let's get to Charlotte Cardin. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. I actually just got back from New York City.
Nice. How was
It
it?
was good. I was interviewing Noel Gallagher.
Ooh, cool.
It was a trip.
Is he nice?
He was.
Yeah?
Yeah, he was cool. He had a lot of funny sound bites and is very, blunt, which is
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
part of his charm. But yeah,
Awesome.
he was cool. Are you a big Oasis fan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's so cool with Liam Gallagher's new whole, project and comeback and
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, he had
very
like the
cool.
number 1 record there for like, I think he debuted
Was
at
he?
number 1. No, Liam
Oh,
did, yeah.
cool.
Which I'm sure made Noel furious, but it was good. But have you been? You just were touring, right? You were on the road for 2 months?
Yeah, we were touring with Nick Murphy,
Yeah.
who used to go by Chet Faker.
Why did he change his name?
I'm not sure. I think Chet Faker was a bit of a joke for Chet Baker, and eventually, I guess the project blew up a bit more than he expected it to,
Right.
and so maybe he just wanted to, put the joke aside. I don't know. I'm just presuming, but
You did not ask this on the whole tour?
no. But his actual name is Nick Murphy, so it's
Right.
like, I guess it's just more natural for him to go by his own name.
That
I
makes
don't know.
sense.
Yeah.
Is that the first time you've been on the road for that long?
Yes, absolutely.
First tour, like,
First tour.
All right.
We had toured for like a week before, but that was a 2-month long tour, and it was something. It was awesome and so fulfilling in a bunch of different ways. But it's such a different lifestyle I'm not used to yet. So a lot of new experiences. Yeah.
when you get a tour like that and it being sort of the first big time out on the road, are you excited? Are you nervous? Do you have sort of an inherent confidence where you're like, shit, I'll get out there and figure it out? Or are you sort of thinking about, how am I going to present myself on stage? How am I going to go out there and sort of win people over as well as, serve people that are here for me?
I don't really get that nervous. Not for shows anyways. I get nervous for like the lifestyle that goes with touring because it's just I like being in my own bed and like so it's a bit of it takes me out of my comfort zone in that regard, but I love performing and visiting new cities all the time is just amazing. It's just so fun. So we've been doing that and we've sort of been making it a bit of a trip at the same time, like organizing activities and just making it
nice.
fun.
Like day trips and sort of things.
Exactly. And when we have days off, like we would go like see ball games or, just do a bunch of different fun things. And
It's fun.
Yeah.
Did you go to any NBA games?
No, I meant baseball games. We
Okay.
went to see the Philly game, and that was awesome. That was so fun. It was my first baseball game.
Ever?
Yeah, ever. I didn't
Wow.
even know the rules. Like I had to ask the guy. I was like, "What are all these numbers on the screen?"
Yeah.
Like it's very complicated. But now I
You got it now.
Now
You're
I
from
can-
Montreal,
I get it.
though.
Yeah.
You guys had the Expos, or was that
we
sort of
used to have the
way back? You were super young when you had
I
the-
was yeah. I think they stopped playing when I was very young,
Yeah.
or even before. No, probably after I was born, but like not a long time after I was born.
Right.
So I've never seen the Expos play. But that was a big thing in Montreal back then.
For sure.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the video for Main Girl.
Yeah.
In the sense that, you know, you're very vulnerable, specifically the scene in the car where you're sort of crying as you're driving. Is it like acting and performing? I mean, obviously, you know, you're performing on stage, but that kind of acting specifically, is acting something that you've sort of focused on and wanted to do in your own videos? Not
really. It just sort of happened. So these two videos, so you probably talk about Like It Doesn't Hurt as well, that has a bit of acting in it as well. And then Main Girl, I both worked with Christophe Brandel, who's an awesome director. He didn't direct the Main Girl one, but he did all the images in the video. He was behind the camera. So we worked together on those two videos. And his ideas and direction, in a way, they just led up to me acting. But it wasn't really something I had planned. But it was fun. It's not. It wasn't easy to cry in the video. It took me like a few tries.
That's what I was going to get at, because it seems very natural and like something that maybe you've like. I guess that's the thing. So you weren't super comfortable just like, okay, action, and then you're letting it all out. I had to, it was really hard actually, but thank you for saying it looked natural, because it felt weird at first. But I was listening to really sad music. I had a hidden... Oh, in the ear that's off camera? Yeah, exactly. Like underneath my hair. Yeah. I was listening to really sad songs, and then it was easier to cry. Get into it? Yeah. Exactly. Were you happy with the result when you saw it? Yeah, it's really cool. And the landscapes are absolutely beautiful. Yeah. We shot it in Iceland, and it was, I'm really happy about the video. It's really cool. The idea of like sort of success and putting out music and touring, you're relatively young, but you've been in the music pipeline for a while now. Out of high school, had you sort of considered university or, other paths, or was it music or bust? No, I was actually, after high school, so it's a different school system in Quebec. We have a 2-year, it's called cégep. It's like an in-between high school and university, and you sort of choose a subject that's more specific than what you study in high school, but less specific than what you study in university. Oh, that's pretty good, actually. Yeah, it's really cool. So, but I chose at first I chose sciences because I wanted to be a doctor, but soon enough, I realized that, music was my passion and I really wanted to do it. So I switched to arts. I finished my CEGEP, even though I knew I wanted to do music for a living, just because I had started it. But I didn't go to university. No, but you'd been thinking about the next steps that were outside of music, and then eventually decided music is where it's at. Exactly. Have you have you done like a day job or anything like that in between, or has it been sort of school and then career music? It did overlap. Like I would write songs all the time at the end of of school, but I did model for a while. Yeah. But that. It was just a job for me. It wasn't something I wanted to do for a living. But that was kind of my student job. Right. Is modeling difficult? Yeah. I thought it was really difficult because it really wasn't for me. Like, it wasn't an industry that I liked. So I found it difficult because to me, it's just absurd to base everything around what you look like. But that's an industry that a lot of people are passionate about, and I totally respect that. It's just, for me, it just didn't feel right. But it is, there's really nice things in fashion, and there's a lot of artistic expression that's wonderful in the industry, but it just wasn't one for me. Well, you're working toward a full length now, right? Mm-hmm. So you have the EP out. Yeah. And then you're working toward a full length. Is there anyone in particular that you're listening to that's sort of informing the way that you write music, or you're inspired by? Well, recently I've been listening to the new Daniel Caesar a lot. His new album is just absolutely wonderful. I'm not that my music sounds anything like his, but I just like the way he sort of does things his own way. Like, it doesn't fit
a certain mold. His music is just so unique. And I like the way the whole album progresses. You know, you can listen to it from A to Z and it's just like a full experience. And I really like that. So in that sense, I'd like my my full length to be sort of a fun experience just to listen to it. But it's not that it's going to sound anything like Daniel Caesar, but just for the whole experience around it.
Sure. Like almost like an impression board. Like it's
like a mood board. Like
exactly.
Just it's nice to travel with the artist. Radiohead, who's my absolute favorite band, they do that so much in their albums. It's just the whole atmosphere. It just really sinks you in. And I really like that about albums.
What's your favorite Radiohead song?
House of Cards right now. But
right.
it changes,
right?
It changes every day.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's always interesting to me. I ask this actually a lot, and I even asked this of Noel. I mentioned him off the top. Is when people get into music or they start writing, it's because they're creative inherently, or they want to express themselves, or they want to get up on a stage and be seen. But it usually comes from a place of kind of like fun. Like it's fun to pick up a guitar or sit at a piano and go, oh shit, I can write a song.
Yeah.
But then when you get into a career like you have now, it shifts and you go, oh, this is now, you know, music in sort of as a business.
Yeah.
Is that something an easy transition for you to make, or are you still sort of, I'm coming at it from a creative place and other stuff I don't mind? Or do you ambitiously sort of go, I understand this is how I get my music out and I have to be a part of the machine?
A little bit of both. There's a lot of, technicalities that surround music once you start doing it for a living and not just for fun and, in your basement for your friends.
Totally.
But once you understand them, it becomes fun again. You know, once you know that certain things you just have to do because, that's how people are going to hear your music, then it gets easier to do those things like press days or photo shoots or stuff that you didn't really expect to go with music because you just want to make music. Once you just get that, it's part of the game, you just do them and it becomes fun because it's going to make people listen to your music. Hopefully.
Actually, I do this podcast with Max Kerman, who sings in Arkells.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and he knows Molly from Atlantic.
Yeah,
yeah,
she's awesome.
So you signed with Atlantic in the States, and from my understanding, there was a bit of like a bidding war for you. So you were a very sort of in-demand person. So my question would be, being in that situation, how do you go about choosing sort of the best situation for yourself, and how cognizant of that are you? Is it like relationships, or even hesitant to sign with a big label? Like how do you approach that decision making?
Well, for us, it was just about signing with people that we appreciated as human beings. Because once you just start comparing numbers and money and legal terms, it gets so overwhelming, and music is not about that. It's about, sharing passion with people. And so we met with the labels we were talking to many times. Like we met with them, we had dinner, like we had coffee, we would go to the office, we'd spend time with the human beings behind the desks. And it just got easier to choose because we just really like the people from Atlantic. And obviously, they're an awesome label. That mattered as well.
Yeah.
But their values and their vision was very important, but also just who they were as people. That's how we decided to go with Atlantic.
Right. You mentioned when you get into other stuff, you kind of lose sometimes a bit of the purity of the music and what it's about. And you write, it seems, from a personal place.
Yeah.
Have you ever, when you're writing, maybe pulled punches or held back or not sang about a certain person because you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings?
Not really. I don't only write from personal experiences. I'll put a lot of myself and my experiences in my songs, but I also write some fictional things. So I guess sometimes when I'm concerned that hasn't really happened though, but if I were to write about someone and I thought it might hurt them, I'd maybe add some fictional things in the song just so that it's just not too directed at one person, and
some elements to obscure the the subject of the song.
Yeah, I guess I'd do that, but that hasn't happened yet. I I usually do 50-50 kind of fictional versus stuff that actually happened to me, and I haven't gotten any like angry phone calls or anything like that.
With a song like Main Girl,
Yeah.
Sung from the perspective of, the girl or the partner that is sort of the second choice. Mm-hmm. I guess the question would be like, I guess personally, do you really relate with sort of that person that's sort of, I'm the backup, or I'm when it doesn't work out with your main girl? Or could you sort of maybe more relate with the main girl? The person that basically is like, you have this other person on the side. Like, which part of the equation do you find you relate with most?
I think that's never actually, this precise situation never happened to me, but I guess just like not being like liking someone and not having them like you back, that's happened to me. And I guess I'd be the not the main girl, the other person, but
Sure.
I've never had that exact situation happen to me.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the idea of liking
Yeah.
someone, having them not like you
Yeah.
back as much is a pretty universal,
Yeah.
And if somebody hasn't had that experience, then they're living a charmed life.
No, exactly. Exactly.
You're bilingual.
Mm-hmm.
Was there ever a thought to maybe write in French, like lyrically?
I have a couple of songs in French. It's just, so far it's just been easier for me to write in English, even though I have a Francophone background and my parents are French and I grew up in Quebec, so my whole education was in French. There's something about French that just makes it harder for me to write in that language. I don't know, it's just such a precise language and I find it can sound tackier more easily than English. Just the way the words sound. It's such a beautiful language, but it's really hard to master. So I've just been having a hard time writing as much in French, but I spend as much time trying to write in French than I do in English. It's just I come up with more songs in English at the end of the day.
You just like the way that those words sound better. They almost flow more.
Yeah, there's
more
something
ambiguity as well, maybe, in the language.
Yes, absolutely. In English,
Yeah.
I find that French is very specific, very precise, and so I find that English there's like a bit of a more of a mystery to it, and I like that about music. But once you're able to master that in French, that's amazing. We have incredible songwriters in Quebec, and in France, there's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful lyrics. But for me, it's just harder to master for now. Maybe at one point it'll switch. But
Yeah. When you're preparing for a show, or you're visualizing a performance, like, I guess the question is like, you're opening for Borns in North America coming up, right? That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Are you going to do anything differently than you did on the first tour? Meaning like, this worked, this didn't work. And how cognizant are you of that? Or do you just get up and sort of sing in a mode?
I'll change a few things from the previous tour. But we usually just feel it out from a show to the other, just because, so we'll play in a city and then realize that a song didn't work as well. So then we maybe put it on standby for the next show. And then depending on the crowd, we play it or we don't. Like, it's harder. It's easier to do it from like a show to another when there's just a few days in between, because then you just know exactly what worked a little bit better, rather than on the last tour. It's, I don't know if the crowds will be, the same. I don't know if those two artists I was touring with and will be touring with have the exact same crowd. So I guess it depends on a lot of different things. So we'll probably just feel it out from a show to the other. Does that make any sense?
No, it totally makes sense. Yeah. I guess the idea is it's like how much thought goes into this is what the 40 minutes is going to look like from sort of front to back, and crowd interaction or the way that you present, I guess, is how much that goes into the thinking going into the shows.
Well, I mean, we did realize like on the last tour that there were certain things that if we had known, we would have planned before, like maybe some like visual support, just a little bit, like some few things that we're gonna switch up for the next one.
Yeah.
And then, so for sure, like we take our last experience and then try to improve it for the next one. But like really main, super important things, I don't really know like what would change. We're gonna play new songs, and we're in the studio right now, so we're working on new songs. And so for sure, in between the last time we played it, going into the studio, and then playing that same song after recording it, it will have evolved.
Of course.
So you know, I like to think that it's just a constant progression, hopefully.
Yeah, it's an evolving thing. Do you, as a solo artist, there's always a bit of support or people you lean on, but at the end of the day, it's sort of like your name, your music. Are you are you comfortable with being the boss and being in control of your own career?
I mean, we really work as a team, so I never really see myself as being the boss. Like, I play with a band and we're always together. Like it's not like I hire musicians sometimes and they change. It's like we actually work as a band. So I do write the music and they're my songs. So in that regard, it is a solo project. But I don't really see myself as being the boss just because we're always, the same people together and they're my close friends. And so I don't boss them around or anything like that. So,
but if any, say the drummer left or the bass player, like if any of those elements of the band changed, you feel like it would change the dynamic.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. The guys I play with are also a huge part of how my music evolved in the last few years. Like we've been jamming the songs together when I first write them. They record in the studio. Like we do everything together. It's not like they're replaceable or, it's just we're a band. It's just I write the songs and it's my name. Because at first I didn't have a band, but now, they helped me evolve so much. And it's really just a whole ecosystem. It's not just me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and I guess lastly, these last, few years have been good to you. If you were to project out and all of your dreams were to come true and everything that you want to accomplish could be accomplished, what does the next 5 years look like for you?
Well, I guess just to keep on traveling and being able to play music to a bunch of new crowds and in a bunch of different parts of the world that I haven't seen yet. That's all I want, just to share music and do it for as long as I can.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to The Dessert. We are here with our pop culture aficionado, Shane Cunningham, filling in for the nut. Shane, how's it going?
That's a good joke. Well, I guess I wanted to talk about that episode, if that's okay, Max.
Sure.
Unless you have any ideas to spring on me right now.
No. No, let's go for it.
Okay, so last week, as some of you may have heard, the nut filled in for me, which is fine. Yeah. I don't care. But sometimes, like usually Mike and I, if there is going to be like someone I'm angry at, Mike and I are so around each other all the time, like brothers, we're more likely to have a bone to pick with each other or get in a little argument. But I was a little upset with you last week. Because like sometimes, I don't know, like you're in real life, you're very nice all the time. Yeah. But sometimes you get a little sneaky. Like sometimes you'll come on the pod and be like, putting down your Hamilton fans or, stuff like that. And then I guess you had this idea that you thought would be really great to have the nut on, but not tell me.
Yeah, because as I said on last week's episode, Mike said, he asked me a few times, make sure you let Shane know just as a courtesy.
Yeah, I know. And I know you're always like, nah, it'll be great. It'll be great. You always say it's going to be great. And you think that the dessert, I guess, is just a continuation of off the top conversation. And that can just happen at the end and we'll just slap the dessert brand on it and that'll be the dessert. What you don't know is Shaney Boy's planning and plotting the dessert from the cruise. And it didn't ruin the last 3 days of my trip, but it was definitely causing me anxiety and something to worry about while I was on the vacation. Whereas had you had simply texted me, I could have relaxed and said, oh, this is great. But no, sneaky, like evil Pod Max had this idea. Because something pretty actually crazy, really crazy Probably the craziest thing since we started this pod happened to me on that cruise.
What?
That's quite a
crazy,
tease, man.
Because you went from Tinder to dating Alex to engaged to Alex to married to Alex
To knocking Alex
to
up.
knocking up Alex in the span of this podcast.
And this is the craziest thing that's ever
Yeah.
happened to you.
Well, I would say, even with all that, I still think one of the weirdest things was the Vanessa Bachelor pod.
Yeah.
And this is, I don't know if it's going to be as entertaining as that, but it's weirder and crazier than that.
Okay.
Can't wait.
So,
In
continue.
my defense, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, we were talking about the podcast, the live podcast, and how you wanted to use the projector and do a bunch of things related to your cruise. So I thought all the
That's incorrect.
Is that incorrect?
Yes, Mike had suggested that maybe as an idea.
Oh, in my mind that was going to happen anyway. This
In
week.
fact, and then I come back from the thing, and Mike's like, "Oh yeah, we had this meeting, and yeah, you're gonna do a live dessert." I'm like, "What?" Like, I totally start panicking. Then,
What do you mean? You didn't think that we were going to do a dessert
No,
on Friday?
I had no idea.
It's just a show.
I thought it was
There's nothing
like
complicated.
I thought
about
live shows are a little
this.
different,
No, we're
and
just
having an
recording a show.
audience.
No.
I edit. You know, sometimes how bad the desserts are, and I edit them down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our listeners are shocked right now.
Well, I thought the desserts were bad. Then I heard the nuts dessert. Like, that was next level. Well, and mind you, I've gone to the weight loss well. Sometimes I come in here and I have absolutely nothing to talk about. I'm like, I'll just bullshit about how I need to lose some weight or whatever. And it's good, mindless filler. But over the Christmas holidays, the nut physically assaulted me.
Oh, sure.
And slapped me in the face. So you'd think it was like, hey, anything to talk about? Even though I was 2 minutes away, and had you had told me that the dessert was happening when it was happening.
What were you doing in Toronto, by the way?
The airport is in Toronto. So I land there.
Okay.
And I was driving by this building as the nut was doing the dessert. Like I can
Like as Webmaster Day was posting, you were driving.
Oh
Driving
yeah.
back
And I'm
there.
like,
That's crazy because I still thought you were on the boat. That's nuts.
no.
Well, if Max
So-
had messaged you, I would have known.
You know, I did eventually, I settled in and I'm like, I accept this. And this is going to be kind of funny because you guys were posting on the Insta story
Yeah.
somewhat interesting stuff. It was like the nut kind of thinking. And it was like the caption suggested that you were giving him ideas to bash me with at the rap battle. I was
Oh.
like, this is good hype. And I thought maybe you would talk about the psychology behind his slap,
This big slap.
why he did it, what was going through his mind, if he picks on me, if he's nervous about the rap battle. And we could maybe talk about the episode that a lot of people probably missed over the holidays. And I'm assuming a lot of people did miss that episode. So if you haven't
Go back
heard
and
it,
listen.
the nut attacked me. It's in the Jingle Ball episode. That dessert, the nut slapped me. Also, there is a plan for on the Friday, this Friday,
Yeah.
Live show sold out. Thank you everybody for
that
buying tickets.
as retribution, I'm going to slap the nut in front of the entire crowd.
Yeah, that's good with me.
I know.
Is the nut down with this?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
this would be great conversation to have on the last pod with the nut, like how
Oh.
we feel. But instead, we get the nut's weight loss tips.
I thought it was a pretty good close. I won't call it a dessert, but I thought it was a pretty good segment, to be honest.
Come
You're not
on.
calling it a dessert now.
Yeah, well, now I'm afraid. I don't want to change rap.
Okay, and then here's an, so not only this, so the nut frames it like he is this nice, cordial gentleman who struggles with weight problems, and I'm this bully who's just nitpicking him all the time. And there's no devil's advocate defending me. So I'm just listening to this pod, going insane when it was actually released. And then when the nut does give me a compliment, he's like, yeah, but Shane's so attractive and good looking. And you're like, hey, come down. He's fine. So you can exaggerate all day long how thin the nut is when he's maybe lost 4 pounds. But when Shane's good looking, it's like, whoa, let's hold the presses. He's fine. Let's roll the clip of that, actually.
Shane has made a life of making fun of my weight publicly. Like Shane making fun of him, how he looks. Like I don't like to give him a lot of credit, but he's an attractive man, that Shane Cunningham.
Yeah, he's fine. Okay, to be fair, I wasn't there for the slap episode, and I mean,
Did you listen to it?
I know. No, sorry.
I skimmed it.
Yeah. Who's producing this pod?
No, sorry. No, sorry. I was there. Sorry, I wasn't there for the slap itself.
No. Which I would think make you all the more interested. Mike
yeah.
wasn't there either.
I know.
But it didn't live on in my head the way it lived on. And I guess that's when you're a victim. Obviously, it sticks with you in a way that a common person...
I was honestly scared for my life.
Yeah. And I hadn't really seen you since then, so I don't think I really appreciated how deeply you were scarred. And if I had realized that, then I would have been a little more sensitive, and then the content of the clothes, not the dessert, would be different.
I was scared for my life, just to be clear, because I would have killed the nut had it gone any further, and then that would have affected my life.
Like you would have got life in prison.
Exactly. That's why I was
You weren't scared that the nut was going to attack you again.
Do
you think you could beat the nut in a fight?
And if anyone had listened to that dessert, I go into that in detail.
To your
He's
point,
the only one of the Champagne boys I could actually beat up. Besides you, right now, with me and you fighting.
So I got a text from an unnamed Champagne boy who was telling me about an encounter he had with a friend. And he said, she also said her friend Maddie is a big pod listener and was shocked how arrogant and full of himself the nut is in real life. Apparently on the pod, he comes off as funny and cute. So confirming exactly what you're saying.
It's like
in real life, the nut is a little more edgy.
I know. And I'm made to look like a total asshole bully. Meanwhile, it's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
I'm nice. He's like, I struggle with a weight problem, and Shane's always putting it down and exploiting how ugly I am.
That's also true, though.
He slaps me.
I mean, he slapped you. Yeah.
He's not as nice as he seems.
He's sure. Fair enough.
Maddie's right.
Yeah. So,
but
shouts to Maddie. So anyway, I'm sorry. I should have been more thoughtful.
Like, do you not find me attractive?
Of course I find you attractive.
What was all that he's fine bullshit?
Here's the thing, though.
He's fine?
Because obviously you and Alex are so attractive, and you don't want... You know what? I always find it kind of annoying when like there's a hot girl in the room and everyone's like, "You're so hot. You're so pretty. You're so hot." It's like...
You feel like that's always happening to me, Max, and it's enough?
No, but it was because of the context of... Well, first of all, you get complimented often for your good looks. Vanessa from The Bachelor. You act like you're this this guy who never gets any attention. Vanessa from The Bachelor was hitting on you.
But then all the girls made fun of my looks there.
Yeah, but you're just keeping in mind the few times that girls like kind of like think they're snickering at you, which they're probably just actually hitting on you, but doing the grade 3 thing when they're actually like that kind of thing.
You know what? So you're probably right.
Yeah. So that's what my reaction was. All right, they're fine. Because whenever it's like, so that's why I said it.
What you're saying is you take the nut side, and that's okay.
I didn't say that. Anyway, what else you got?
All I have down here is you, Max. That's how I'm gonna end.
That's it. That's all. That's our episode. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you on Friday. If you're in Toronto and you have a ticket to the live podcast with all our ticket money going to Lupus. It's a good cause. Thank you to Charlotte Cardin for coming on the show and everybody else that listens.
A huge thank you to Jenna Gregory and Tara Paquette for providing and putting together the artwork. Please listen and subscribe on iTunes. Leave a comment and ratings. That really helps the show grow. Huge thank you to the gang, Justin Stockman, Webmaster Dan, Mike McShane, everybody here in the building.
The kind people that mix our episode every week. There's a rotating cast of them, and they're all fantastic. The Mega Much Podcast is produced by Max Kerman, and I'm your host, Mike Veerman. See you next week if we don't die on the weekend.
Boom.